Today we're headed to Chicago for a bit of an impromptu road trip for a celebration of life for one of my good friends' dad. And boy, would he have loved what we are taking. This is the 2024 Mercedes AMG GT 63S 4-door E-Performance. This is the newest and hottest version of this already incredibly hot 4-door coupe. This is what you get now when you get the GT63S. This is no longer strictly an ICE car. This is now a plug-in hybrid. And I know what you're thinking, that has probably ruined it, but wait till you hear the power output of this thing. 831 horsepower and 1,032 pound-feet of torque. And man, I don't know that we'll necessarily need all of that to just kind of eat up some miles on the highway, but boy, am I excited to experience this thing on today's trip. So funny enough, actually, the last car we took to Chicago was also yellow, but I think it only had about a quarter of the power of that EcoBoost Mustang. So let's walk you around this thing real quick, and then we're just going to jump right out on the road because it's already 4 p.m., almost 5 p.m., and we're already going to be getting to Chicago kind of late, so we'll try and go through this pretty quick. I already told you power output, but all of that power is made possible via the M177 4-liter twin-turbo hot V V8. That is combined with a rear electric motor. Power is sent through the 9-speed automatic transmission. Of course, this is 4-matic because otherwise it wouldn't be able to put all of that power down. And this big yellow bus weighs 5,200 pounds. So it's definitely not light, but it has plenty of power to move the weight. For tires today, we actually have a fresh set of Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. This car just came from the dealership before it showed up today, hence why we are leaving so late, but we did get a fresh set of rubber. These Pilot Sport Cup 2s are going to be quite loud. They're kind of a harder tire, so we'll have to see how these are to live with for 500 miles. We got a 275 35 R21 ZR21 on the front. And on the back, we have a 315 30 ZR21. This is a bit different because how long have we had this car? 20 minutes? So I've put about 4 miles on it. I guess the MDX was kind of the same way. It was. Yeah, we're just, the cars show up now and then we just immediately go and drive them 500 miles. So this is kind of like the coupe architecture, like they say. We know this car. It's been on sale since 2019. So this is like the fifth or sixth model year now for this AMG GT 4-door. And it's a 4-seater. We kind of have like a bolstered rear seat setup. I'll jump in the back here and show you guys what I'm on about. Only thing I'm kind of concerned about is headroom back here, but honestly, yeah, at 5'11", sat behind myself here, I've got plenty of room, and these seats are bolstered, so you kind of need that for a car like this when it's set up to go to the racetrack and everything. You can take 3 passengers with you and have them all bracing for their lives back here. We do have some air vents, though we don't have our own climate control panel. And you've got an ashtray back here and a little traditional kind of car charger thing. Cup holders in the middle, 1 wireless charger, a couple of USB-C ports. So I think you could take some passengers back here and they would be quite comfortable. This was just the coolest situation because the gentleman who we're going to Chicago to honor, he was a big Benz man. He had, everything from classic Pagoda SLs to, sedans of that era, all the way up until most recently, like a 2009 Mercedes SL 550. He was a huge Mercedes enthusiast, and I think he would just get a huge kick out of this car if he were here to see it. So really cool that this worked out, and I mean, huge shout out to Mercedes for making this possible. This is just going to be the coolest thing to show up in this car, so much appreciated. So let's open up the back. This is a lift back design, and we have it stuffed, and that is for a couple of reasons. My camera bag is with us, so we have, a good amount of luggage, but also with this being the E-Performance, you lose like an entire cubic foot of storage space in the back for the battery, and for this rear electric motor, it does stick up a bit higher. So you don't have as much room as you would have in just a regular AMG GT 4-door. There's still a sufficient amount of room. I think we could fit another one of these suitcases in here with no problem. That backpack could probably go up on the shelf made by the battery. But plenty of room for 2 people for a weekend, whatever you need. And you can see that demonstrated by our bags in here. Of course, a power lift back. And the way to tell this is an E-Performance on the outside, a couple of ways you can tell actually. The badge is trimmed in red, which I think looks epic. And then you have the charge port back here because of course this is a plug-in hybrid. This is in a little bit of a strange spot, but you can see there's your little plug plug-in spot there. The EPA rates this at 1 mile of electric range. But my buddy Sophion from Redline Reviews just reviewed one of these. He lived with one a couple of weeks ago, and he was seeing anywhere from like 8 to 9 miles on a full charge. So I would expect that in the real world, you would probably see a number something like that. This car, as spec'd, did I tell you how much it is?
You did.
$222,000. We have a couple of options. Of course, we have extended night package. We have the acoustic glass, which should help us mitigate some of the tire noise. So, you know, a little bit more sound insulation, and we have like the membrane that kind of evacuates the heat from the car. So it should be quite cozy for the road. But man, this thing looks epic. Sunburst Yellow. It's a MANUFAKTUR color. You know, obviously the fans are still running because Mercedes fans run for like 30 minutes, or Mercedes AMG fans run forever after you shut the car off. So, all right, well, you guys are going to be getting our raw first impressions here on this as we hit the road, but why don't we go ahead and do that? And it's funny, we're going to hit like Ann Arbor rush hour, but then hopefully when we get into Chicago, it shouldn't be too bad. So, cool.
Are you showing the engine bay or not?
Yeah, we probably should. You want to pop the hood? Hey, yo, good job.
Thank you.
Who built it? Lucas Schimmer.
Thanks,
Lucas. No, Lucas Schiem. He just has a little accent on the end of his name. Well, Lucas, we'll see if your craftsmanship here holds up to our road trip. I'm sure it will just fine.
Beautiful.
Isn't it pretty? I know. So these turbos on top, they're called a hot V because they sit kind of in the V of the engine. Part of the reason why you hear like the crazy turbo noises from this thing. Yeah. So,
All right.
sweet. A lot of these are getting now the AMG roundels, which I think is a nice kind of offset to our huge Mercedes badge in this grille. The fans have shut off just in time for us to set off. So let's go ahead and jump in this AMG GT 63 SE Performance and jump on the road. You know, a lot of people have been asking me to road trip cars that are affordable. So I'm just kind of doing my part for the community here.
Right.
Now, jokes aside, this is definitely the most expensive car we've ever road tripped, like by far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, almost $250,000. So you guys will see when we start this up. You hear my music start playing, but additionally, we don't have that 4-liter V8 coming to life. I've got about a quarter of a charge in this battery. It just drove from like 50 miles away. I didn't expect the battery to be charged. It'll charge up pretty quickly in race mode. That'll charge it from 0 to 100 in just a few minutes, or you can plug it in overnight and it'll be charged by the morning. So that's that. I mean, everything in here is pretty Mercedes until you get down to the center console. This is kind of a newer concept for me. I'm sure this has been around for all of the AMG GT 4-doors, but this is actually the first one that I've ever driven. So I like this little volume clicker, which is a nice kind of refreshing sight after living with so many Mercedes with that silly haptic touch. Actually have a physical control for volume. Down here, all of the different, putting it into a manual fires up the V8 motor. Down here, we can toggle all of our drive modes. You can also do that on the steering wheel, so I think that's a little bit...
redundant.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, see, I just need to bring you along with me. I blank out on words so often now. Is it because I'm 26?
Yeah, probably. No, it's
old.
just because I finish your sentences.
My sandwiches.
Your sandwiches.
Yeah. We'll probably
You
leave...
finish my sandwiches.
I do, actually, yeah. We'll probably leave this cluster in the classic design, but you do have track pace, super sport, sport, all the different cluster designs. I think for the road trip, we'll leave it in classic. We do have wireless CarPlay. I do have my phone wired in currently, and we are also bringing a jar of matcha tea. Or matcha latte.
Matcha latte.
So, okay.
That was for Ted.
That was for Tedward if he's still watching 8 minutes into the video.
Matcha latte.
Matte carbon trim. Will you actually grab the Monroney out?
No.
We'll put all these options in the description for you guys so you can see what all it has. But we have the AMG Aerodynamics package, Acoustic Comfort, like I mentioned, night and extended night, driver assistance package, so this will steer, it'll change lanes for us on the highway. So all in all, just under 30 grand worth of options on this thing. This is rated at 25 mpge combined, gasoline only 18 mpg. I don't believe the EPA has yet rated this for city and highway, because these are both combined figures. So I suppose we will see what we get. I'm going to predict it's going to get like 23, 24, somewhere around there. So Actually I'm gonna reset the trip here. We have a clean slate here. Actually, we're 2.4 mpg because we're idling the engine. So let's show you our reversing camera, 360 cam. Super crispy clear. Parking sensors.
Yep.
And we'll get this thing out into the road.
It's quite the sound we've got.
It does make quite the sound, yeah. I'm gonna put in a little snippet of some performance driving for you guys because realistically, we're not gonna have a chance today to, do any hard accelerations or anything like that. We'll give you a little taste right now. We'll just put it in regular sport mode and we'll step on it and give you a very slight acceleration. That's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite.
My palms are sweaty.
Knees weak.
Arms are heavy. Are we from Michigan?
Oh, are we from Michigan? You'd really never know, would you?
Never guess.
Okay, we're taking a quick break from the road trip and jumping a few days into the future to give you guys all some proper performance driving impressions here on the AMG GT 63 SE Performance. And well, why don't we go ahead and start with a race start and see how this puts all 1,032 pound-feet of torque to the ground. I'm in race mode. It's pretty simple to do a race start in an AMG Mercedes. Full left foot brake. You'll have the little hold sign pop up. Full right foot on the accelerator and release the brake. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. It's hard to put that into words, but you all can see it. Holy crap. That's an alleged 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds or something like that, but it feels more like 2.2 or 2.3. Absolute insanity off the line. I'm gonna put this into manual mode. I've got my cluster in track pace. That'll help me keep track of what gear I'm in. As I mentioned in the intro, we are on a fresh set of Cup 2s. These things grip like no other, and we have rear axle steer. I'm gonna stay in third gear. I want you guys to see how this electric motor pulls me out of this corner. That is insanity. So one thing I've noticed with this is it's not really as dramatic as the coupe version, the AMG GT, that I just got out of driving. And I think that has to do with the fact that this is now so entirely fast. It doesn't have time for the theatrics anymore. So you get the odd little pop and burble from the exhaust, but it doesn't really like bark and snarl at you like some of the other AMG products. Good thing we have a great turning circle, assisted by this rear axle steer. This 9-speed has gotten some criticism for being mildly sluggish, but the nice thing about this E-Performance is that this electric motor fills all the gaps and you're almost propelled forward in between gears. It's absolutely nuts. But of course, speed and power isn't the main focus of this road trip video, but we can't have a GT63S and not show you what it can do. So that'll wrap up this little part of the video. Let's go ahead and get back to the proper road trip action. So a couple things I'm curious about on this car. I've never driven a Mercedes plug-in hybrid. Obviously, I've never driven one of these crazy new E-Performance cars. They are kind of adding these to the whole lineup. There's the C63 E-Performance, granted that's a 4-cylinder.
Something is on fire.
Something's on, wow, something's very much on fire. Wasn't there something on fire last time we were driving over here?
I believe so, yeah.
That's quite peculiar. Okay, but before I was distracted by whatever sort of thing is on fire over there, they are adding a lot of these E-Performance cars to the lineup. There is the C63, granted that's a 4-cylinder. There's the S63 E-Performance, and then eventually there's going to be the GT63 Coupe E-Performance. What are you doing?
I just want a sip of matcha latte.
There you go. Get it now.
Thank you.
Throttle response, very immediate, even in comfort mode. This thing boings off the line. Bit of a weird brake pedal feel in this car. I don't really know what that's about. Probably just everything to do with this being a hybrid and regen braking and all that stuff. It's almost like a springy, very touchy brake pedal. Wow. You do get some of that EV noise piped in through the speakers, and it will take off pretty much every time. From a stop, it'll take off in EV mode. Just up to like 5 or 10 miles an hour. Oh yeah, that's like way over there. Looks like maybe they put it out. It's a very smooth power delivery.
It's smooth for sure.
Yeah, that's in comfort mode. I'm sitting here wondering if I can make gaps, and then I remember that I've got 1,032 pound-feet of torque under my right foot. I think I can make the gap just fine. Yeah. So, actually, the tires make some noise, but I think,
terrible.
Yeah, I think with this acoustic glass, there's really next to no wind noise. Helps with the aerodynamics and kind of the coupe style of this, but I was thinking when we found out we were getting this car, I was like, this might be a little bit inappropriate for a funeral procession,
Yeah.
but I think it's going to be absolutely excellent. I think it's going to be really cool.
I think so.
Yeah, so.
I mean, funeral processions only go about 40 miles an hour anyway.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's not the 1,000 pound-feet of torque, it's the Sunburst Yellow exterior kind of look at me statement that this car makes.
I think Mr. B would have loved that.
Yeah, Mr. B would have been a big enthusiast of this car, that is for sure. Yeah. Well, shoot, under first impressions, it's pretty soft. We have a 4-corner adaptive suspension in this. With it being in comfort, it is in its softest setting. And the only real intrusion we're getting are from these wheels and tires. That's to be expected. But the overall suspension tuning, the damping seems to be pretty soft. And this is a good time to have this car because I just spent almost an entire week with an AMG GT coupe, and it was kind of a similar story with that car. And that's a big attraction to some of these AMG GT cars, is that they are actually quite livable. They're very much dailyable. I would say more so than some BMW M cars. I'm going to come out and say that. They do a little bit better job of kind of being able to calm down and do the daily commute. We do have the fastest car in the entire world behind us. Chevrolet Equinox. We're going to let him get by. I don't want to know what that thing's capable of, so we're just going to be polite here. Actually, though, in my opinion, the best color you can get on the Equinox, very nice green. Our press Equinox we had last year was that color. I always thought it looked nice.
Like an army green.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to follow him, so we'll get back over.
Very good at reading signs.
Hey, I am a big enthusiast of reading signs. As I mentioned earlier, this AMG GT 4-door has been around since 2019, and that means that there are actually a fair amount of physical controls in here still, which I quite enjoy. We've got a brand new powertrain, but it still keeps all of the old switchgear in here, which means my lumbar adjustment is a physical button on the side of the seat. You don't have to go into the infotainment like you do on some of the new Mercedes cars. All of my memory settings, heated, cooled seats, all that stuff is here on the door panel, as is tradition for Mercedes-Benz. So I think we'll be good. Like, as far as controls and stuff go, we should be all set. Lots of vents.
I like them.
4 of them. Actually, 6 of them on the dash. Okay, well, we're going to gather some driving impressions, as we don't really have any yet.
My E90.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Facelift E90.
Yeah.
What I love about high-performance plug-in cars like this is you get such a sense of like urgency from the electric motor behind you. So this electric motor actually has a 2-speed.
Oh.
So there's a 9-speed transmission, but then there's 2 speeds for the rear electric motor. There's a lot of technology going on, lots of like Formula One style stuff in here. And you can feel that electric motor first. As soon as you put like your first 5% onto the accelerator pedal, you feel that electric motor, it kind of hits you in the back, and then the V8 kicks in and you've got the full 1,000 pound-feet of torque. But it's kind of it's a cool feeling. I love when manufacturers take hybrid technology and they do this sort of thing with it.
Yeah.
Because it's cool for performance, it makes it stupid fast, and you avoid the gas guzzler tax. So you don't have to pay the thousands of dollars that you would have to pay with a non-hybrid GT63. Granted, you do have to pay more to get into this, but it's more so the concept, I think.
Right. It's the thought.
It's the thought that counts. All right, well, we're going to gather some driving impressions here on this GT63 SE Performance. As we've mentioned a million times, it's a very fresh experience still for us, and we will update you as we have updates, I suppose. We're only about 100 miles in to the trip as of now, but I wanted to talk about some of the driver aids in this GT63, starting with the lane change assist, which is the best because you don't have to have your hands on the wheel. All you do, touch the turn signal and the car will change lanes for you.
Police reported ahead.
Thank you, Jeeves. And that is the way that all of these lane change systems should be, because if they're anything more than that, it's more work than just changing lanes yourself. So, big fan of that, as we saw in the MDX a couple weeks ago. Additionally, the adaptive cruise works quite well. Doesn't seem like a nervous system. I can kind of demonstrate that here. We'll jump over again to the right. This will change lanes once it is safe. And set this 75. I like how there's no real like suddenness to this adaptive cruise. Everything kind of just feels very natural. Coming in behind this Chevy Sonic, it's applying the brakes very gently. I'll tell you what, this has been pretty comfortable to sit in, and I think a lot of that has to do with just the large amount of adjustments to the lumbar. Do you have that on your side?
I do. Yeah.
Not only does it go in and out, it goes up and down, which I think is quite important because not everyone's back pain is in the same place.
Right.
So it's nice to have a bit of adjustment there. This car is just the gentleman's express. And gentle lady.
Yes.
Yeah. A little bit of an update on our MPG, 22 MPG flat over the last 72 miles. We've got just under 3 hours to go. At this point, a road trip like this seems like nothing because now we've driven to North Carolina, we've driven to Nashville, Tennessee. So these road trips that are only 250 miles each way, piece of cake.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Also, big fan of the vent placement.
Yeah.
I know we said there were a lot of vents earlier, but the actual placement of them, like I'm actually kind of frigid right now. Luckily we have dual climate control, so your side's on low, I'm on 68, but I'm still kind of cold on 68, so. As far as places to put things, I think that's where we struggle a bit. The door pockets are massive though. They fit Emily's huge pink cup over there with no problem. Cup holders are pretty deep. The mason jar is a bit lost in there, and I've got my phone in there as well. There's a split folding console here in the middle, which does a great job as an armrest as well. It is quite cozy. Squishy, rather, I would say. So, ergonomically, I think we're doing pretty well here in this car. Both elbow placements are quite squishy. And then what I didn't realize was that this still has kind of the old school Mercedes setup with the touchpad. So this infotainment screen does sit quite far away, and when you're sat back in the seat, you can't really touch it. You have to lean forwards, but you can remedy that by just using your little touchpad, which has a little wrist rest as well. It's quite pretty backdrop currently. Very, very pretty sky. 6 p.m., Midwestern sunset. We're gonna keep eating up our miles here in the GT63S. And I think the next time we talk to you, we're gonna put some fuel in this. We could make it on one tank, but we're going to be doing some driving in the city and out to the suburbs and back and some other stuff, so I just want to make sure that we have enough fuel to do all of that. So we'll stop here in about an hour and a half, and we'll top up the tank, and we will update you guys then with any more impressions that we have. Let's do one more lane change here to the right. I like also it tells you on the cluster, lane change to the right. Curious what...
I'll just steal a pillow from Anne-Marie's room.
There you go.
That's what I'll do.
These haptic touch controls on the steering wheel are so frustrating to use.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Track Pace is such a cool cluster layout. Like, it's just a very cool design.
Yeah.
What you doing?
Getting a little snack.
Oh, can I have a little snacky? Please.
I just don't know what you put in here.
The tote bag. I filled it with all kinds of stuff.
I was not involved.
There's some mandarin oranges in there. There's beef jerky. There's chips. I'm not using my hands yet. You're still feeding me. Got 0 hands. Oh, no. Welcome to Indiana, where the sky is putting on quite the show. I don't know if that's going to be showing up on the GoPro, but if not, Miss Emily over here is getting some footage on her new iPhone 16 Pro. Apparently we just had a route change. Got just about an hour left of the journey. We're going to stop off and top off the tank here on the GT63. How many miles do you think we've driven in electric mode?
Does it say?
Yes, it does.
10.
Yes. Did you just read the cluster?
I did.
Yeah. MPG is still sitting right at 22, just where we left you off 2 hours ago. So nothing's really changed there. I just wanted to let you all enjoy the moment of this beautiful sunset. And also wanted to show you my favorite gas station that we always pass on the way to Chicago, the gas station that I always went to growing up as a kid. The rear suspension is so blown out on this Cadillac DeVille. It's still bouncing from the, watch this. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Other updates include the fact that my back got sore after 2.5 hours. That was my limit here in this seat for being comfortable. I've got the lumbar all the way out. I've turned the heated seat on, which has actually helped a bit.
Okay.
Got to test out these Cup 2s a bit. Incredible road holding.
Wow.
Oh man, from this 5,200 pound 4-door. Oh man, this is an excellent car.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really fortunate right now to be spending so much time in this thing. So, well, we're gonna pull into the Indiana Travel Center, the TA.
Combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
That is here as well. I forgot about that. Oh my goodness. Just under half a tank here. So fuel range, not the greatest in the world, but we're getting it done.
Sticky, we picked something up.
That's the Cup 2s.
Yeah, baby.
And there's no tap to pay. That's okay. All right. Into park. Parking brake is electronic down to the left.
Oh, do not leave people or
Yeah, I'm
animals.
not allowed to leave you in the car.
Just a minute. You've forgotten your phone.
Thank you.
She's so polite.
She's so
Oh, what a sight. AMG projected on the ground there. Love it. Woo. There you go. Just under 12 gallons going in there. 52 bucks. Thank you. Thank you. 19-gallon tank in this thing, so readout is probably pretty accurate. It was showing just under half a tank remaining. So, cool. All right. That's it for us. two types of food here in Indiana. You can either have the big ass cheeseburger, or if you're feeling extra peckish, the big ass rack of ribs.
Thank you.
One of these days I'm gonna try it. There is the Chicago skyline. We're 18 minutes from the hotel, and we are being treated to some ultramarine ambient lighting here as we...
The only color.
The only color. Though I do like Malibu Sunset. That's a very good one too, but this is definitely my favorite. So, finishing out the trip here. Nothing really else to update you on. Just wanted to show you all the city, show you the ambient lighting, and give you a taste of our world right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is the ideal time to drive to Chicago, though.
I think it is. I would agree with that.
You know, it's been pretty nice.
I think if memory serves me, there's a, oh yeah. Oh, one little baby. One little baby pop. It's just a little baby. Okay, the exhaust doesn't seem like it's as aggressive as the non-E-Performance cars, but of course haven't played with it a ton and don't have a super good idea of it yet because we've just been on the highway, but you all will have seen that earlier in the video when I put in that little performance-y driving snippet. Visibility out the back, not the best. I think this could definitely benefit from a camera rearview mirror. I don't know if that's an option for this, but if it is, it's an option that has not been selected for this particular car. So otherwise, I think visibility is all right, but with this being a coupe design, kind of the sloping rear architecture, you do lose some of that. So stop and go. It's quiet in here. All I can hear is the fan on your side because you have it on low. Up to 14 miles per hour in EV mode there. We've now done 16 of our miles in electric drive. Overall MPG for the first leg of the trip, 21.8, average speed 68 miles an hour. So pretty accurate there for a highway readout. You know, you're going to be looking at low 20s. I guess to wrap it up, I mean, this has been a really nice first leg of the trip.
Yeah.
We're just about 250 miles in this thing. It's been a treat. I kind of halfway expected the seat to be somewhat hard, so like I'm not super surprised for a car like this to not just be the coziest thing in the world. You'd probably want to be in an S-Class to achieve that level of softness, but it's been good. It's quiet, it's refined. I mean, I would definitely go for this acoustic glass package. It definitely does seem to help. It hasn't gotten hot in here even when the sun was out. It's pretty straightforward working everything in here. Like, I really don't have any complaints, I don't think. The Burmester is good. We'll obviously give you guys a taste of that on the way home. There's Chicago. Welcome to a parking garage in Rosemont where we are about to head back to Michigan in the AMG GT. We just finished out our little celebration of life, and boy did this car stand out in the procession. It definitely brought a bit of light and energy to the overall kind of somber mood. So the car was good for more than just 1,000 pound-feet of torque and shooting gaps on the way here. It was definitely a hit among everyone else that was with us today. So definitely a good choice bringing this car with us. And again, can't thank Mercedes enough for making this happen for us today. But let's go ahead and jump. Ooh, I'm in a tie and dress clothes and things that I'm not normally in, so the wire is dangling around, so excuse that. But let's go ahead and jump back in the AMG GT. We'll get on the road, and then really we'll just kind of probably give you guys one more update before we get home. Tell you what this thing has been like to live with for the last 550 miles or so. Good day.
Good day.
I love the EV noises that this makes. It sounds like a cat when it gets angry. You know the noises that cats make
Oh, yeah.
when they go arr. There's a bit of rear axle steering with this car as well. They do all come standard with that, as does the GT63 Coupe. I really like it in this big boat because it makes it a lot easier to maneuver in situations like this. There's the performance aspect of the rear axle steer, but this is where I think it comes in handy. And immediately into traffic. 'Tis the Chicago way.
It is. We are leaving at a quite less than ideal time, so.
Yes, indeed we are.
Oh man, look at that plane leaving O'Hare.
Whoa!
That's crazy.
Oh, we're getting a flyover. This is like Tedward's favorite thing in the entire world when this
Yeah.
happens. Cool.
I would have said it to him.
All right, well, we are going to, oh God, probably sit through quite a bit of traffic. We're gonna go probably 200 miles, and then we'll give you guys kind of some final thoughts on what it's been like to live with this thing for the past couple of days, put a ton of miles on it, and yeah, I guess that'll be it. As we finish out the road trip and bask in the Malibu sunset ambient lighting here, let's give you guys a little taste of this Burmester sound system, and then Emily and I will give you our final thoughts on this AMG GT. Honestly, probably one of the best Burmester systems that I've heard in any of the new modern Mercedes stuff. I want to say you can actually upgrade this in this GT 4-door as well to a high-end Burmester, but even this base system sounds excellent. Of course, all of the AMG GT 63s do come with a Burmester, as a lot of the 63 AMG cars do. But to kind of wrap up our thoughts here as we just cross over 600 miles on our trip, I think the best word I can use to describe this car is just effortless. I mean, anytime I need to shoot a gap, I just breathe on the throttle and the car is exactly where I aim it. And it's just been a very like low stress and easy 600 miles in this thing. Even in like a slow driving scenario, the funeral procession earlier, which we were right out front with this thing, which felt really cool. But, you know, just kind of driving around the city, 25 miles an hour, the transitions between ICE and EV, for the most part, pretty smooth. Occasionally the car will have a little bit of a hiccup if you are kind of at a speed where it's normally going to be in between gears. The gas motor will kick on and then it has to change from second to third gear immediately, and it's a little bit harsh, but otherwise it seems to do a pretty good job. The seats have been mostly supportive. Like I said on the way out here, it took about 2.5 hours for me to become uncomfortable. But actually, I feel like on the way back, I've been a little bit less fatigued. I don't really know what the reason for that is, but I don't know. Maybe I was less tense today or something. But
It's really quiet.
it's so
Here.
quiet,
The
and
cabin's so quiet.
there's something to be said about that because we're on a set of Cup 2s, which are super loud and harsh tires. And the cabin in here is just whisper quiet. So, and to touch on this Burmester one more time, we've been going along with this at a pretty low volume, and you always know it's a good sound system when you can listen to it at a very low volume and it still sounds good. And this has definitely been one of those sound systems. So, I really don't have anything bad to say about this car, I don't think. It's still got the old school door handles before they switched it to the stupid aerodynamic ones that I hate now. So. If I could critique one thing on the interior, you guys can't see it right now because it's dark out, but I wish they would leather wrap the airbag cover, the center of the steering wheel. But otherwise, I don't think I'd change a single thing about this. It's been a wonderful experience for us, and I think the overall meaning of the car for the trip was just perfect, and couldn't have really asked for anything better. So, if you have 200 grand and you're looking for the ultimate luxury kind of grand touring gentlemen's and gentleladies express, then this is the car, and I really, really love the Sunburst Yellow.
You can sleep in a car, but you cannot drive a house.
That's right. The word of the wise.
Word of the wise.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add, or you summed it up okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, future me will have given you guys a bit of performance driving. And past me, which is me right now, is looking forward to that. Thank you guys for... Please stay in your lane, Econoline van. Thank you guys for... It's just been the entire drive back. It's distracted people. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today and yesterday and throughout this whole road trip. It's been a little bit different, but we've tried to make it work. And on short notice of this car and the whole scenario. So we hope that you enjoyed, even though this wasn't a super traditional road trip. But as always, if you have any questions about the GT63 SE Performance, leave those in the comments. That'll wrap it up for us today. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hug your loved ones.
Yes, extra tight.
Extra tight.
All right, guys, good night. Take care.